Um, but this one probably would be good. Listen. Can you guys hear me?
Oh, yes. Can you hear us?
Can you guys? Oh,
I'm going to type in, yes, we can hear.
oh, hold on. Donna's calling me. Let's see if I can fix this. Are you there? Hold on, guys. Tech difficulties. I'm sorry.
Can you hear us now?
I can hear you now. Okay. That makes sense. Sorry. Donna was calling me like, yeah, we got you. Cool. I couldn't hear anything. I was like, is anybody there?
Yeah. Barbara was saying you need to buy a PC.
Barbara, you know I'm Mac loyal. These things don't give me no viruses, no drama, ever.
You know that was all Derek. I don't even know the difference.
Hey, I'm honest just like our president. Come on now.
Oh, burn.
I actually just spent an hour trying to get a virus off of Wendy's MacBook.
No way, did you do it?
Oh, wow.
Oh, that's bad news. That's not okay.
Yeah.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Real quick, let me see. Let me share the right screen. You guys can't scan my screen right now, can you? No. So a couple of things. I want to mute everyone. Gotcha. Now, if you're talking, obviously you can unmute. Tell me what you ate for breakfast, how you're doing, what's going on with the phone. I'm all for it. If you're not talking, keep your stuff muted so we don't have to hear you puzzling in your pockets and you hear everything that you do when you keep yourself unmuted. So having said that, a couple of things real quick. There's been a lot of discussion. So
excuse me, Jenny, you're pretty low with anybody else, but it sounds like she's far away.
That's it. Arrest them. They told me to get this microphone. Can you hear me better now?
Wow, that microphone, we're going to blame that on Scott.
Okay. As long as somebody.
There it is.
If I just get really close. I'm really loud in person, I feel like. I talk really loud.
Wow. With the microphone, you like that? Wow, that's unbelievable.
I'm working on it now. Can you hear me better now, Barbara? Is that good?
It was, but now it sounds like it's far away.
I don't know why.
Your screen is coming up now.
Peekaboo. Yeah. Can you hear me breathe into this thing? No?
Yes.
Glad I can't.
Okay, well, I'll try to get a lot louder. I move this really close to my face. There we go. Okay, guys, so good morning. A couple of things for the people who don't participate in the scalping group. I wanted to address a few of the things that are happening inside of the discussion group. I got, an insane number of messages in terms of Pat signals particularly, and a little bit of mouthiness. And since that's my people, those are my people, I am very quickly going to come up and say, listen, Linda, listen. Most of us don't need to be here. Pat does not need to be here. I don't need to be here. Elvis, again, those three, of course, Donna, the admin, those people, not so much. So did some of Pat's trades get knocked out with that trade deal? Absolutely. Did that happen? Yep. Was it unfortunate? Yep. But again, the signals group has been positive every week, and that's not Jenny's opinion. Those are numbers. So this comes down to your ability to grow, to manage, to understand, to compound, to have proper risk management, to understand your broker, and about a bajillion other things that we have no control over. We're at a point now that I don't even call GBP trades, and that's what I've traded the most the last couple of weeks, primarily because of the US nonsense, and I made a fortune on it. But most people can't handle the drawdown of that, and they fuss and they whine and they complain, and they're saying, oh no, well, yeah, the pullback from a GBP pair is large. It's going to be large. It's a fast moving pair. Are you going to always win every signal? No. And you shouldn't be taking every signal if you don't understand what's going on. So to answer some of the questions, comments, concerns, if you're having trouble, rather than fussing and moaning and whining, take the ownership and the independence and all the other words that I don't need to get out Webster's to define, that says you want this for you and this is your life. This is not my life, this is your life. So you do what you need to do to get to class, to watch the recording, write down your questions. I can't tell you how many comp books of questions I have just in terms of every topic I've learned in life, where I would go to the next thing. If I couldn't make that call, I would make the next one, or legit, I would just message them to that person and say, okay, these are the questions I have. Can you discuss them? I will watch the recording. Like at some point, you guys are going to have to take ownership over you. So if you're not understanding the signals, if you're not having any success with them, then go to Elvis's training. I know it's a little bit different. He is definitely a talker and not a visual person, and that's okay. He has his asset in who he is. I have my asset in who I am. Pat has his assets in who he is. And that team could potentially be life-changing if you're willing to open up to it, if you're willing to, I don't know, grow, advance, accept, acknowledge, take ownership, and then learn the system. So in terms of the signals channel, every signal posted is relatively self-explanatory. This is like 3 things that as an adult you need to know, just 3. Pat's signals will say swing. They have a small disclaimer. You will know they are his just by who he is. If you even watched him one time, you will know they are his. My signals all have a video, an image, or a red, a little alarm like a police station or a police, thingy-mabobby, like the alarms, or a video or a picture. And it's very self-explanatory because, again, it will tell you to use the 6-figure challenge lot size. It will tell you to always protect your pips. It will tell you to, you're always using the 50 pip take profit lot size. Yeah. And then Elvis's signals, obviously, his come with like a 9-page warning and like a 9-page stuff. So you can't miss his, okay? His are like 9 pages long. 3 things you have to know. And I think that as an adult, asking you to remember 3 things and to understand 3 things is not that much to ask. So sorry to be a little bit more direct this morning, but sometimes we have to, get a little bit bolder and not be so gentle. And I know that's my gift, is to be gentle, but enough is enough. This last week, the signal channels did thousands of pips. The week before that, Pat couldn't even count all the signals because we called so many duplicate signals. So he didn't count like my trade and then Elvis's trade and then his trade because we all called the same trade. So you have no idea what you have access to. But at the end of the day, it still is going to be on you. My next topic is for the guy who said 20% drawdown. I don't know what you're expecting. If you don't expect to experience a 20% drawdown, but yet you expect to experience a 50% growth, that doesn't mathematically add up. It's not lucid, and it's just not logical. So if you're expecting to come into this market and make your 10, 20, 30, 50% in a week, please, by all means, you're going to need to expect a 20% drawdown. That's not that much. Now, obviously, when you get to higher amounts of drawdown, you're going to have higher amounts of stuff going on. But yeah, so that's where it's at, period. Now, in terms of a losing trade, guys, we are trading the entire country and the value of their currency against the entire country and the value of their currency. We little people in nowhere Florida and nowhere California and Southern Florida have zero control over that. I promise you, Derek and Donna and even Jamie and Aliqua, they have no say over what happens. So we do the best we can with the technical analysis we have. We will lose some trades. How you manage that loss, how you emotionally take that loss, is ultimately going to determine whether you're here next year or whether you're still in the same position you're at next year. And that, again, is not on me. You have to decide who you're going to be. So sorry for my little soapbox, but I think that addresses most things. Oh, and come to class. If you're having an issue or not understanding, for the love of God, please come to class. I promise you, I will walk you through every single thing I see. I will help you with every single thing I can. I will do everything in my power to help get you from where you're at today to where you want to be. But I cannot do that if you sit in the back of the chat, fuss and moan, comment when it's convenient, learn nothing, and then don't show up. Is that a pretty fair enough soapbox? Anybody?
So you
Yes,
mean
it is.
that
Yes,
we
it is.
cannot You mean that we cannot blame Pat, Elvis, and you for our financial mistakes in life?
Yes, thank you.
Sounds
Same.
about right.
Thank you. Oh, the last, actually, I forgot one more topics. Everyone asked me about budgeting. A lot of you know bits and pieces of my story, and I'll try not to make it the long-winded one. Again, I'm not great at short-winded, but let me take a go at it. I was raised, I didn't have a lot growing up. I mean, I didn't know that because my mother was, amazing at taking care of us with what she had. But I grew up with a budget. So even once I started making money, I mean, I did the envelope system, I budgeted everything, I trimmed every amount of fat I could from my budget, and I made my priorities my priorities. So everyone wants to know what they can afford to put in there, what they can, how much they can grow. And at the end of the day, I promise you, every one of on this call can afford some amount of money every month. I promise you, give up McDonald's, cancel the stupid gym membership you don't go to anyways, okay? Stop buying that third pair of black shoes that we all know you don't need, okay? Whatever your kryptonite is, stop doing that. I promise you. The people on this call have internet and electronics to some capacity. You can afford to deposit $50. It might not be much, it might not be as much as you want, but I promise you, every single person can. So that was my last thing. When you start getting to certain levels, you start getting hit up for all kinds of things, including help funding people's accounts. You get hit up for that a lot, especially when you show any results. One of the biggest reasons why I stopped being super transparent is because I got so many requests for that, and my heart is not good at saying no. So I'm learning that still in life, but I'm working on it. So either way, that was my last thing. Is you guys can afford any amount in your budget. I don't care what it is. It might be $20. But please quit telling me you can't afford it when you are currently on an electronic device with current electronic connection. You currently are not starving to death. I promise you, no matter how destitute or how rough your situation is, every single person on this call can afford some amount in their budget to say, this is what I'm dedicating to my future. This is what I'm dedicating to get good at something. And this is my plan to do it. And that is not anybody else's responsibility but your own. So sorry, I had to go on a soapbox this morning because my message box is like it's through the roof full. It's horrible. Horrible. But does anybody have any of that on anything? Leroy, you love this TV template? This one?
Excuse me?
Can you guys see my Euro NZB open?
Yes, it's
Yes.
I'm gonna go to my microphone and see if I can't turn it up. I promise. Oh. Can you hear me better now?
Oh, way better.
Okay, I figured it out.
You must have hit the sexy switch now.
Okay, I figured it out, guys. Yay. I was like, why can't you hear me? It's like on my mouth.
See, and I was bad mouthing Scott all this time.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks, Derek.
All right, awesome. So can we talk about version 8, Wayne? Let me check the chat real quick. Ricky, I still love that song, man. I got a new one. It's a little girly, but I'm in love with it. And it's like my powerhouse feeling right now. Let me tell you. I'll send it to you though. Let's see. 9 pages.
I really want a girly music song, huh?
No, it's powerful though. It's like it's amazing and it's feel good and it's like happy. It's loving. It's awesome.
Well, if it got some Cyndi Lauper punch, it's okay.
Okay. We will. We can ask Scott about version 8. I'm going to show it my screen in just a moment. Before I talk about scalp trades, anybody who has a reasonable comprehension of the scalping strategy, pretty please start looking for some trades. So since I have to sit up here and talk, it would be to everyone's best interest if you had up gold or you had up GJ or you had up GN, any pair that has a high enough volume. Those are the pairs you're looking for to be looking for an entry. You can go to the 1 minute, you can go to the 5 minute, you can use this a multitude of ways. But if you can do that while I have to do my duty and due diligence, and show you these 4-hour trades, then that would be great. Then you can feel welcome to interrupt me, say, hey, listen. I will stop talking and we'll take a look at that. Fair enough? So please, guys, a couple of you I know understand it well enough to be hunting right now while I have to explain this stuff. Okay. Okay, so in version 8, we'll talk about if Scott's open to it. We were up late last night and I was just we were up late looking at it and trying to figure out the best way to teach you guys to use it without a manager. So it's pretty fire and I'm in love with it. It's amazing, but we have to get there. So real quick about the swing trades. Okay, so this actually has a harmonic pattern. Okay, I'm going to close this and show you something else. Well, maybe not cancel. I'll keep it open. So I'm going to go to the higher time frame. On the higher time frame, what is EN doing? Anybody? Anybody?
Retesting the trend line.
Retesting the trend line.
Okay, so it kind of broke that. I get it. But either way, so if we just look at it with nothing on the chart, what is this doing right now? Is it going up or down?
This is going up.
Okay, it's going up. Now, granted, this is a weekly candle. So this takes a whole nother level of patience on steroids, let me tell you. But if you found a few trades, which is something I'm doing, I set up a whole new account. I put $1,000 in there and I just want to see what happens. I've got about, I think 20 some odd trades in there right now. I don't know, half of them are up a couple hundred pips. The other, 20% or so are at break even ish, give or take. And another 20% ish are in drawdown. And heavy drawdown, not baby amounts of drawdown, big drawdown. Okay. But what I wanted to test was if I did trade from the weekly / monthly / daily, because you got to understand how much time this is, what would happen to that account in a year if I didn't touch it, if I didn't, sticky finger it and didn't mess with it. So on any one of these higher time frames, these are super areas of rejection. So does that mean this is going to definitely shoot up like we want it to? No, it doesn't. We have zero control, but we do know we have an extreme amount of wicks. We've got a railroad tweezer bottom. Okay. And right now the NZD shot up. So the NZD got super strong. So yes, it's pushing down, but I will not close this trade unless it breaks this low. That's for my trading. But you guys all say you want to learn the way I trade, but most of you don't have the ability to do so. You fuss and you moan. So the way I trade is I'm going to hold this trade to here. If it doesn't break that low, I'm going to hold it because this is a swing trade. And in fact, it's even more than a swing trade because it's more long-term than that. So I'm going to be holding this trade personally. That's my decision. We caught the first move. Let me go to a lower time frame. We caught the first move. We got our 50 or 70 pips or something. We knew it was going to pull back. Okay, I thought it would pull back here or here. We got in somewhere around here, I think, give or take. Don't quote me. I'd have to look. But either way, that's my decision and how I trade. So if you guys want to learn what I'm doing, because I could just pick a few swing trades and then not worry about much. I promise. Not much at all. And it's not nearly as effective as compounding with an hour or 4 hour time frame, but it's still a nice little savings account. It's something for my daughter when she's not being a teenager and, having that teenage girlness going on. But either way, it's her college fund. It's her, she wants to buy houses with me. She knows I love real estate. So this is her, I'm going to give her enough money to buy her first house or something. That's what that account is, just to give you an idea. So unless it breaks this low, the way I trade, I'm not getting out. So you guys understand what I'm doing. Also, I'm going to let this run quite a bit higher. So I'm expecting it to kind of come up here. Doesn't mean it will happen. No, it does not. Okay. That's what I'm seeing. Does anybody have any questions in terms of this specific pair?
Jenny, it's Cordelia.
Hey, Cordelia, how are you? I haven't heard from you in a while.
I'm all right, thank you. How are you? I'm still battling with Hugo Swing, with my money things. So the money that I transferred, that's why I've just been focusing on that and learning. But the way you take the trade, I've seen we are on a 4 hour chart. So is your entry on the 4 hour chart or you take your entry on a different time frame?
Most of my entries are on the 4 hour, but to be honest, I've spent the majority of my trading career, if that's what we're going to call it from now on the 1 hour time frame. I did get quite better by using the 4 hour. Unfortunately, there's just not a lot of volume in there. There's not a whole bunch of the markets are slow. And even I was trying to show that to Scott last night. I was like, see, it's lower. And he was like, yeah. There's just not a lot of volume. Keep in mind, we're coming out of the Christmas months. Most people who have money are coming back from Bora Bora right now. Okay, this is the second week of the year. I promise you, they had zero intention of starting their week working, okay, at all. I mean, by next week, we'll see most of the major banks and most of major players come back in, and then we're going to get a chance to see what the real volume of the year is going to be like.
Okay.
But
So when there's volume, entering on the H4 is okay. When there's less volume, then maybe you go to the H1. Did I get that right?
yeah, that's what I would do. That's the advice I would give you for today. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
And in terms of my entry rules for swing trading, I am not that fancy. I am not some guru that just like knew all this stuff. It's very simple. You can pick most things, and most things work up to about 60, 70%. Like individually, any one thing will work up to a pretty high percentage when you think about it. And again, don't trust me on that. Start doing your own research. But the thing is, I use a set of Confluence. So I want more than one thing. So this has a double bottom on the 4 hour. And again, I already showed you the daily, weekly, and monthly. But on the 4 hour, if we look at any of these oscillators, as well as we have structure, we have a lot of wicks. Wicks equal what? What do wicks in the marketplace equal?
Rejection.
Rejection. That's right, Don. So wicks equal rejection. Pretty simple. That's just basic candlestick. A lot of rejection in this area. So notice when we up here, we didn't have that huge amount of rejection going on. This was one wick, so we knew it was going to pull it back. But do you see the difference in how we would see this in terms of candles, in terms of Japanese candlesticks? So specifically, I'm trying to be as specific as possible. So my confirmations for this trade would be fairly simple. I mean, the TDI, I like it to be above the 50 because again, it has all of our fancy dancy stuff. I don't love this, but I have it on here to teach my eyes to get used to it. I understand it. I just don't love it, in all fairness. But the TDI, I wouldn't necessarily go for these overbought things. I want to see the whole package come above the 50. I want to see our obviously our breakout. So this is our little crossover or the hook or whatever y'all want to call it, depending on who taught you. And then if we broke the Bollinger Band, et cetera, so forth. I'm looking for this to be up, coming up past the 50. In terms of my ADX, which functions differently than the one on MT4, I need the seller, I need my buyers to be in control and momentum to be higher. I don't want it low. This one functions a little differently than the one on MT4. And these are just my MACD settings. It's not that far off from the traditional settings. It's just different. In all fairness, it's different. And that's how I would describe it. But I want the fast MACD to be above the 0. So this right here is an entry. This is your perfect, your fast entry. And then of course we have our crossover. Then if you can see, our slow MACD comes and crosses over the 0. Our volume is now above the buyer's line. So that's extra confirmation. And now again, our green is above the Bollinger, right? Confirmation. We have an additional EMA crossover, a momentum candle that pushes up, retested it. This is again, perfect entry. So that's kind of how I'm seeing it. Does that answer your question?
Yes, so your EMA is confirm it's 8 and 33?
I like the 8 and 33 for an alert.
Okay.
Well, because of the alert, remember, every alert and everything on your chart is going to lag to an extent, right?
Yeah.
So let's take off some of this nonsense. There we go. So I don't want to get too many alerts that now they're invalid. And I promise you, that's just an administration nightmare. I want to get the most effective ones. So for example, when I get an alert, or if you use the crossover arrows in the in MT4, or if you use the alerts on TradingView, either one, I want to be able to come to the chart and say, do I agree? Do I not agree? Draw some support, resistance, and trend lines and decide, do I take this or do I skip it? Fairly simple and fairly consistent. It's systematic and it's not exciting. It's just easy. If you follow rules, you're doing steps 1 through 20 and it either marks enough things off or it doesn't mark enough things off, and that's it. So mine, I like the alert for the 8 and the 33. Personally, that's my personal favorite. And I can get into all the details as to why, but that's my personal favorite.
Thank you.
You are welcome. Any other questions on that particular pair? If not, I want to show you this one. So we've taken this trade a couple of
Hey,
times
Jenny,
now.
good morning.
Hey, is this McDonald? Is that really legit your name or what's up?
Yeah, it's legit.
Okay. Okay. Fair enough. So how can I help you?
Yes, ma'am.
Hmm.
Just a suggestion as far as the six-figure challenge goes. I think it's wise. It's wise for a person to have a swing account and a scalping account, because what's happening is, like, I'm in this trade right here. I took this that you sent, and it's in the big drawdown.
This trade? This trade?
I mean, the Euro NZD.
Oh, I was gonna say.
No, I'm sorry, you're looking at something different.
Okay.
Yeah, it's in the drawdown right now, which means that when you guys do send out the signals, most people are saying they won't be able to take those. But if you have an account just for the swings, you'll be able to hold them a little bit longer, and then a different one for the scalp. You'll be able to scalp. So I think that's why a lot of people's kind of like complaining a little bit, is because they're in the drawdown already, which means they won't be able to take other signals if
Okay,
their
so
account size isn't big enough.
okay, so let me first off, I agree with you. Now, secondly, there's a video in the pinned post that explains every single thing you're saying, and it's like less than 10 minutes long. And here's what it says. It says, I can't control your broker if you did not follow instructions. So if you did not use a high leverage broker for the six-figure challenge lot size, don't fuss and moan. It says that you can only be in 4 to 5 swings at a time, and that's it. And if you follow the instructions, I promise you that is accurate. It is not wrong. So for example, if you used AAFX, right? Because that's the broker I know that has the highest leverage. If you follow those instructions, if you had $150 in there, and these are all big wide ifs, in all fairness, you use the exact lot sizes that were posted on the sheets that were created by me and by others and edited by me. They're all published by me, but if you actually followed that, those are not wrong. So you would be able to hold 4 to 5 trades. And it also says if you're going to be scalping, that should be a different account. It also says if you're taking your own trades, that should be a different account. So those are all topics that have been addressed a bajillion times. But that's what it comes down to, McDonald, is like people have to listen. So if you're trying to take a 20% growth on a Hugo's Way account, and mind you, I like Hugo's Way. You're not going to do it. You will blow your account with any amount of drawdown. But that is your inability to manage your trade and not somebody else's.
Correct. Mm-hmm.
So what broker are you using?
Yes. Oh, I'm using PAX Forex.
Okay, so what's the leverage on that?
The leverage on here is 1 to 500.
So please don't. So I really want to be as loving as possible. I really want to be gentle, but some part of me has to I need to get a little bit bolder and say, you know what, guy, don't do it. Just don't do it at all. Because if you do any of what we're telling you to do in that account, you will fail. Not maybe, baby, you will totally fail. There's no question it will happen. So even if you won 90% of your trades, it will take one loss on the wrong leverage, you will lose everything. So if you're going to do this and you're going to compound effectively, you have to do it in a mindful way. And I get it. There's a ton of information. So I understand how overwhelming that is. But if you're looking to compound effectively in a 6-figure manner, you need to find a broker that has 1,000 or 2,000 to 1 leverage. That is not an opinion. It is a must. Or your second option, if you don't like that option and you really want a regulated broker, then you need to put at least $10,000 in there. So you choose which one of those you want to do and get back to me when you do one. But until then, you can't. You'd probably be 2% if you're going 500 to 1. If you're doing the leverage that's 500 to 1, you can maybe do 3% if your accuracy is fire.
Yeah. So I did plan to get because I already had this broker. I plan to get AFX in the coming days also.
Okay, well, just ask Donna.
Yeah.
And if not, my links are in the group. But
Yeah, I have it.
there are a couple of other brokers too who have good leverage. they have their pros and cons. You don't have to use one I'm recommending, but you do have to use something that gives you leverage, or you have to use 10,000 plus.
Okay. But what confused me was is 1,000 to 1 the same as 1 to 1,000, or what's the difference?
So on a 2,000 to 1 account, for example, I can put 2 full standards on a $100 account, and I will not be over leveraged. So that's a 2.0. That's $20 per pip if I'm trading a USD pair, right? Okay. Oopsie, my microphone is jumping at me. So on a 1,000 to 1 camera, 1,000 to 1 account, I can do 1 standard on a $100 account, and I will not blow my account. Does that make sense?
Okay.
And that's for 1 trade, 1 time. That's the numbers that it's kind of offering. Now, technically, there's more because there's margin and there's different pairs trade at different values, and it gets a little more technical. But that gives you enough information.
Okay. So it is not, so 1,000 to 1 is different than 1 to 1,000.
Yeah, well, somebody wrote it backwards. Yeah, it's called one of them is written backwards.
Gold is dropping.
DJ, thank you.
Okay.
You have an entry for gold. Hold on. Let me pull it.
It sure is. Gold is really dropping.
The entry was about 8 candles ago. But we are getting an engulfing now.
Let's see. Thank you, DJ. So where would your entry have been? Here, right? You guys can take an entry on gold. And that'll be 1. If you can afford it, please only use a lot size that works for you.
Jenny, look left and you'll see that wick sitting there. Be careful.
Good morning, Jamie. I see this.
Good morning. All right.
Yeah, we're just coming on it now.
Okay, so Jamie, so when you see that wick right there, do you not take the trade until the candle past that wick?
Jenny, do you mind?
So like right here. So that's a point of area of rejection, right?
Yeah.
But if you took this
I don't want to take over the class.
Do I mind? No, I love it. Then I think that you have a value. So I love it when you come up and talk with me. Besides, I did my soapbox this morning, so I think I'm good. If you took the entry right there, you'd be close to up, or your trade manager would be good. But essentially this area, 1, 2, 3, this is just where it turns around. This is a 1 minute chart though. So what we'd want to see, and that's where those fractals come in, is what we'd want to see is if it breaks this area, we'd be looking for another entry. So once it broke there, does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so. So wait for it to break that last support zone.
If you're not already up 5 pips, yeah, but your trade manager, if you entered right there, your trade manager should close to, well, depends on how you have it set and if you follow those instructions, but that moved 8 pips instantly. So now you have to see what happens.
Well, when I told you guys about it, I was already in the trade as soon as I made the announcement. So my target profit was already hit, but then I entered the second position. So now that one's in drawdown because it was close to where that wick was at. You guys just pointed out.
Right.
Well, we are pushing into that wick again.
Right. Different people trade differently. Me personally, I never get in on the impulse. I'll always wait for the I'll wait for the
correction. Continuation.
Pullback, flat, correction.
Right. I'll be waiting for the flag. So I would have basically, Jenny, can I write on your screen for like a real quick second?
You can write on it. You can share your screen. You can do whatever you want, Jamie.
I would have gotten in here. This is where I would have got in at, and then I would have got the whole move because I knew this was a correction, and I would have sold from the top. Actually, if I would have missed this move here at the top, then I would have took it here once it broke the bottom. Then I would have got the whole move. Does that make sense?
It does.
And then this would have been my first TP. This would have been my second TP, and then it would be all she wrote right here because I'll be looking for this. I'll be looking for a correction. Because see, this is an engulfing candle. Even though we're on the 5 minute, this is an engulfing candle. I don't care how you look at it. Because it just ate up everything over here. I mean, and it filled a void. See this big void right here? It's look like a black hole, like the abyss. It's got to feel that. A lot of money sitting there. Okay. So.
But to take a new trade now, guys, what we'd want to see is we want to see it kind of retest. Oh, silly me. Sorry. What we want to see is we want to see it reject off. So break down, pull back up, and then drop.
Exactly.
We want the retest. We don't want just so that trade should have closed. You should have got your 10 pips from that. Did everybody get 10 pips from, I mean, no matter what your broker was, for the most part, you should have got your 10 pips from that. But this is what you want to see. You wanted to see it clearly break that zone, which it's breaking, but we can't just take it there, which might mean we miss a huge move. But to take a new entry, we'd be looking for our rules to be met on this. So a retest or a re 3 and 9, right? Let's go to the right time frame. And keep in mind, that alone it's the same thing. It's just one of them is done with indicators and one of them is done naked. So if you guys understand that this pullback, this is getting in after the pullback, right? So this is a 3. No, let's pull up the right stuff just to be, the 3 is on there. I'll turn this one off. Can't see the 3, so I'll change the color. We'll make it white. Ta-da. There you go. So there's your crossover. That's where it breaks the 0. That's your entry. So it's doing the same thing Jamie is saying to do. It's doing it differently. So you're still catching it at the right area, but rather than timing a top, you're waiting till momentum, volume, and price actually moves your direction. So you're at a more confirmed area.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Good morning, Jamie. How are you?
I'm doing well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, it's Friday for me.
Jamie, what's wrong with your microphone? You sound good.
Hey, I sound like Billy D. Williams, baby. I might get me a talk show.
Good morning, family.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning, family. I just want to say that y'all the best in the world. I don't care what the world has to say. This is the best loving channel on earth.
Oh.
There's no other TV show I want to watch. Hey, remember the 80s was Donahue? That was whack. This is where it's at.
Showing your age. I've seen pictures.
Yeah, this is Dietrich. Hello, family. Good morning. Good morning.
My man went back to Donahue. He didn't say Oprah.
Pre-Oprah.
He didn't even say Oprah.
That's prehistoric.
Donahue.
Damn.
When TV was black and white.
Y'all the best on earth, man. Hey, ain't no way I'm leaving this channel. Ain't no way. I just want to say that. That's all. I just want to chime in, crack a joke, and leave.
That's what's up, Dietrich. Appreciate you, family.
Hi, Jenny.
Thank you, AJ and Dietrich. We appreciate you. Yes, Don, how can I help you?
Yes, I just wanted to say on that Euro NZD.
Yes,
I think some people were from kind of looking at the chat yesterday are still just jumping in and not particularly going to the charts and analyzing the trades for themselves. I got the signal, but I'm not in that trade yet because it doesn't match my rules, and I don't see it that it's turning around to go up yet. So I'm still monitoring that trade to get into that trade.
Well,
I didn't immediately jump into that trade.
that makes you a good trader. So you are going to be somebody who in a few months says, you know what, Jenny, check this out. You just helped me make 6 figures, and I'm going to smile and I'm probably going to cry a little bit. And that's awesome. Because if you're that guy, that's exactly what we need. But again, guys, with all due respect, every one of those things that go into that darn channel, it all says, don't take it if you can't see it. The pinned video says, don't take it if you can't see it. We can't. If the problem that, and I thought about this last night, we had a couple of one-on-ones with a few people, and how do I say that? And again, the love in this family is amazing. We are building a group of just incredible people. I got some comments on that last night about how this is like a family, and I'm proud of what we're creating, and that makes me so happy. So on that note, thank you, Dietrich. Thank you, AJ. and Scott and everybody. Like, this does feel like a family. So that's what I wanted to create. And God has made sure that happens. So having said that, if I'm going to teach you to trade the way I trade, I can't afford to be filtered by everybody's opinions. Does that make sense? And that's a real topic if you think about it. Because where I made a ton of money on DBP, I didn't post those signals because everybody's fussing. Where I will hold OddCAD, I will get 1,000 pips out of that, give or take, and I'll re-enter. Like, so for my other accounts that are not long-term accounts, I'll keep re-entering that trade. On my longer-term account, I'm just letting it sit. But if I am filtered by everyone's opinions, you're never going to get the real and get the progress either. Does that make sense?
That makes perfect sense.
Jenny, can you go to WCU for the young man that asked that question?
Yeah, it shot up. It shot up.
Alhamdulillah.
It shot up. See?
Yeah, I mean, it's telling you. It's telling you guys. We gave you guys the goose that laid the golden egg. I mean, if you use this right here, I mean, OMG, and then you find the pair that you're going against, it's telling you what it's doing. I mean, just even on the short term. I mean, come on, look at this. Jenny, can you just draw a trend line from here to here, please?
Yes, actually, I want to talk to you about this. I talked to a very really good friend. I finally got a chance to talk to him, who is an expert in this WCU and then the indexes and the values and the currencies. I would not use WCU anymore, and I'll explain why when it's just me and you. I'll show you why, because it's the opposite of the currency value, and that's not what we want. So, but it does give us information. So, show me what you're working with.
Okay.
Can I make a statement before we go knee deep?
Yes, Derek. How's it going?
Oh, wonderful. It's I think it's very important that you mentioned that we all have to find what works for us, because it got to work for our personality. And I was watching an old interview of the late great Miles Davis, great musician, and he said he didn't become a great musician until he stopped emulating what other musicians were doing, and he started playing the music that came through his mind and ears. And I think we need to take a similar philosophy with trading. Like me, I'm not really a scalper, but I enjoy the camaraderie here. I'm just going to be a swinger because it's going to fit my personality.
I'm a swinger too. I feel you, and I'd say
but I enjoy the camaraderie that we have here, so I come on for that. But we have to do what's right for us, and that's probably why a lot of people were blaming Pat and Elvis and you for whatever. They have to get in tune with themselves and what works for them. And I think once they do that, they'll be okay.
Just to clarify, guys, my accuracy was 100% for a little while, went down. Obviously, I had those weeks where I took a loss or two losses. And then in the last 4 weeks, it's back to 100%. So just so we're all on the same page, like, wait a minute, which is not hard to do publicly or as a team. So it's not hard to do even individually. So, it's not easy to do as an individual, better yet as a team, but you do. And that's why I want you guys to learn everything. Is I want you to learn like whatever works for you, however your eyes see it, what you can bring. You're going to be so amazing once you learn that, and to hear the music and to see the charts your way. So
yeah, I just think people
thank you, Dorian.
Understand what it means by signals, the signal channel. They just think it's going to come in, hear signals, take them. So.
Yes, exactly.
This is DJ again. I'd like to chime in. Gold is really going to drop, and the reason why I said that because I'm looking at the template on a 1 hour chart, and it's breaking the 50. It's breaking below the 50. It's really challenging this 50. And because I'm looking at the 1 hour and 15-minute chart, it's going down. I'm in that trade again late twice. And I made, while we was talking just now, I made that joke or whatever. I done made 8 pips. I closed it, opened again. Now I'm up again 7 pips. It's still going down. It's challenging that 50 moving average, simple moving average on a 1 hour chart. Just wanted to chime in to say that it's still going down.
That's
All
right.
right, people.
I got you, Dietrich. So that's what I see. So we caught this. We didn't think it was going to go that high. We caught the first drop. So we caught that as in the signals. Well, not in the signals, but we caught that in the group. I told you guys to buy when it bought. We caught that buy, that little kind of mini trend. And like I said, I still have this going down. So if I move this in, I try not to tamper with these too much because I want to see what the accuracy is long term. But what I've got from right where it's at, that nice buy, and it bought perfectly. It went perfect. But now I'm waiting for it to go down. So I'm with you. I'm expecting a big drop, like in and around this area.
Like I said, I like the strategy. It's beautiful, and y'all some beautiful people. Let's put that first and foremost. And cut the rope. Get off that beer. Unless you're gonna send me some.
He ain't got no
Unless
beer
you're
there.
gonna, unless you're gonna send me some. It's too early in the morning. But anyway,
All right, Jamie, show me what you're working with. I got it on
Yeah.
the 1 hour, okay?
yeah. But yo, yeah. All right.
Thank you, Dietrich. You can come on and laugh. We just joke and play. That's what we do.
Hey, Jenny, quick question.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm taking notes. I just wanted some more clarity on the leverage. So one to 1,000. Because until I met you guys, I never heard about 1,000 to 1 or 2,000 to 1. So they're different. What's the difference between 1 to 1,000 and 1,000 to 1?
One of them is written wrong.
It's the
Clearly.
same thing.
It's the same thing.
I think they're the same.
Clearly.
It's the same.
You just
Hey, you better stop watching all those Snoop videos.
No, I've only heard the 1 to 200, 1 to 500, 1 to 1,000. I never heard it backwards.
Let go of the marijuana and frosted flakes.
You guys need to leave Colorado. Stop with the green. So it legit, it's just written wrong. That's all.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Sorry, we play, we joke, a
That's
lot.
fine. I'm learning, so I'm cool.
It's all love. All love.
Fair enough. right.
Just
Thank you.
let me chime in on that for just a second. The way you can think of those ratios is that the smaller number is always you.
That's
So
Thanks
with
a
your
lot.
one, you are controlling 1,000 units. So you could trade 1,000 times what you have. And, if it's written as 1,000 to 1, the 1 is you.
There you go. That's a great way of saying it.
Got it. Thank you.
I told everyone Scott is smarter than he looks.
Oh, you're just mean 100% of the time.
You know I'm joking.
My wife was listening in a while back and she said, "Does Derek not like you?"
Oh, she's taking me serious, huh? He's just a smart ass, that's all.
That's what I told her.
Hey, the truth will set you free.
Uh-huh.
But as I
that
always
is-
say about myself, at least part of me is smart.
Part of me. I don't know. I was listening to Scott talk last night, and then we were just BSing, and I kid you not, I'm like, okay, so my brain, it works in a certain way, and I am just like desperately trying to see the rest of what he's seeing and trying to put my brain in that indicator of, okay, how does it call when I would call? And he's smart in a lot of areas, but he's too smart in so many areas. That's the problem. He's
It
too
gets
smart.
in your way.
It so does. It does. So does. All right, Jamie. Hey, I'm calling for you so we can get to the other chart. Come on.
Yeah,
Jamie, I'm calling for you.
I'm here. You're
still trying to do with that flashback.
You'll be
Oh.
stateside soon enough and you'll get a beer. But until then, show us what you were saying.
Yeah, I definitely need a beer. Okay, so yeah, boy, I'm telling. Why'd y'all bring up beer? God. All right, so we can see how this pretty much the market had shot up, right? And if you look left, is it a coincidence? No, not that far left. Go ahead and open up your screen a little bit. Yeah, go ahead and open up. We don't have to be scrunchy. Just widen her out.
No scrunchy. Okay.
Yeah, no scrunchy. All right, perfect. All right, so you see where she came at? So if you draw a trend line or you draw that zone from the top of that wick to the base of that bottom wick right there, I mean, she came straight up here, Jenny. Where's my annotate? Yeah, just draw a nice box from here to here and just bring it right on over. And you'll see that she touched perfectly right there. You see that?
Super important area if you look left too.
Exactly. So your keys are right there. So what are we going to look for? We're going to look for what? Now we should be looking for a correction. It's got to correct. It's got to. If a market just continuously to push up. Matter of fact, Jenny, can you run the gold real quick? This is a perfect example. All right. No, go ahead and open up.
Gotcha.
Like really open up your screen and just bring her to the left. Okay, perfect. Now go to the 4 hour. All right, that's perfect. Now, if you draw a line, Jenny, from scratch up just a little bit. I want to see, I want perfect right there. Great. You see how if you draw a trend line, Jenny, like right there. Now, guys, act like you don't see this, please, just to appease me. All right. Now, before all that was there, now, Jenny, from this point right here, draw a trend line till up here. Okay, now, again, guys, don't look to the right. Look how the market was just treacherous. I mean, it just was merciless. It just stopped. I mean, it just would not stop going up. The market has to reset. It has to drop. Here, it created a flag, right? It created a flag, and then the bottom fell out. Well, it had to retest. But then it went right back up. And then it repeated itself again. It threw that wick. But guys, if y'all would have saw this right here, it just kept drawing a trend line and just waited patiently for that thing to close under there. Guys, y'all would have been sitting in some nice money right here. And what are you going to get again? If you draw your trend line, this thing is going to come all the way back here.
And keep in mind, the moving average
are like dead freaking on where this thing is going. I'm sorry, Jenny, I didn't hear you.
No, you're good. The moving averages are kind of like fluid trend lines when you learn to see it that way.
Exactly. It's what you see. It's just how you got to trust your eyes. So that's why Jenny is showing you guys different avenues and different opportunities, because everybody's not going to see the same. Where she said the sky is blue, I mean, Derek could say, no, it's not blue, it's baby blue. Well, yeah, you're right, but it's still blue, but he sees it differently. So we can't take away from what he sees. So she's trying to show you guys different avenues that maybe you'll have an aha moment like, okay, you know what? This is the strategy for me. Oh, well, you know what? That's okay, but I really see this. So you guys are going to have to play. That's why we always say you have to submerge yourself into this thing we call Forex. And once you do that, and you find your it, you have your aha moment, man, stick with that. Don't change. Don't flip-flop. Just stick to it. And if it works, keep on doing it till it stops working.
Hey, Jamie, I want to see $50,000 withdrawal.
You know what? You should see that. You'll see that in probably June-ish.
No, baby, come on. No, that's too far. June?
He's trying to
Well,
run.
I'm in a swing. I'm in CAD J for a swing trade. That's going to pay me 22.
The buy, right? Well, I bought that all the way up. Hold on. Trying to see, Jeff.
Well, I'm selling it, so I mean.
See, green and blue, huh?
Aha, that's an aha moment.
Yeah, I'm selling it.
But we've been buying here, bought here, and now we're buying a little. Well, when did you get in? Just now? Yeah, it'll pull back. It'll give you a lot. It'll probably give you a bunch.
Yeah,
Now.
sure is gonna give me a whole bunch. Yeah.
Now it's gonna give you a whole bunch.
Yeah, it's gonna give me a whole bunch.
Like, I want
Yeah, it's gonna give me a whole bunch. Yeah, you see it, don't you?
So you've been selling it for a long time, though, right?
Yep. I just been waiting for the break. That's all I'm doing is selling from the top. I'm just selling from the top. I'm selling from the top. Cause soon I'm gonna catch that big run, and that son of a gun is gonna run, and it's gonna run right here.
Gotcha.
I'm taking that son of a gun all the way back to where she came from, 4377. And if you're not dyslexic, that's hell backwards.
Okay. Sounds
So I'm looking at it all the way down here.
Hey,
Gotcha.
family. Hey, family. I think this is Dietrich again. Yo, Jamie, you the man. You doing reversion to the mean, but without moving averages, and that's a little advanced for some people. But when price get parabolic, it has to revert back. It has to come back. Reversion to the mean, whether moving averages or trend lines, it got to come back. Whether support and resistance, it has to come back. But you selling it now, and I'm scared of that one right now, my man. But I know you see more than I do, and I respect your vision, and I'm gonna take heed to that. I will look at that, and everybody should listen and take heed to that for real. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm definitely putting it on the watch list.
Hey guys, well, keep in mind everything I say is recorded, thankfully and unthankfully. We discussed that trade over here. We took an entry here on recording, and I had it marked up to about this point. And that
Right.
was marked up from last September. We were marked up in October. We took other entries in December-ish. I don't think we were paying attention at this time, but we took this too. And Jamie called this one too as the buy.
Right.
So
Exactly.
part of that whole big buy. We've been buying this, and that doesn't seem like much, but when you just trust your analysis and understand
Mhm.
a pullback, that's 400 or 500 pips. Well,
Yep.
if you only caught some of it, so you only got 200, who cares? Now, on the other hand, if you trade like me or Jamie, I caught all of that in one big move, as in I didn't close it. And then I'm also catching that first 100, another 100, another 100, another 100, another 100. So this is worth 1,000 pips in some accounts, and way more if I'm scalping stacking. So if I just take, it's
Yep.
simple.
Yep.
So not bad at all. Not
Jenny,
bad.
could I ask a quick question on that?
Yes, you may.
Would you, I take it you journal everything as well. Would you be journaling all these trades that you're managing?
And so in my last house, I had a big marker board. My brother and my ex-husband hung it up for me. It was like huge, like the whole wall, right? In this house, I don't have that yet, but I have sticky notes everywhere. I have lots of sticky notes. And then I have an electronic journal and my FX book. So I don't even do the written journal as much, although I do recommend it. I haven't done that this year, so.
I know you can tag your trades, can't you? So that when they go into your MyFX book, it clumps them all together.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe I'll have a whiteboard again soon. Then my friend will help me set it up. So, and then I'll show you exactly what I do. I do my long term, my swing trade. I have a little tiny box in the corner that says news, and that gives you everything you need. So
Sounds like my whiteboard.
yeah, that's visual. That's how I would tell you, but just me. So that's how I would do it.
I've got a couple of your rule sheets up there too.
Huh?
Got a couple of your rule sheets up there too on my whiteboard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So somebody, I don't know, maybe one of y'all can correct me, but somebody shared an indicator that you can like type in the rules. I want to say it was DJ, but I could be wrong. Like you can type in all your rules and then you have it there on the left.
It wasn't me that shared it, but I do have it if you want me to share it with the group.
If you would, pretty, thank you, DJ. Drop it in there.
Oh, that's sweet.
It's because it's kind of awesome. Just type your rules in and then
Always glance at it.
That's it. So that is it. But not bad. All right, let me look at gold.
I'm sorry. Say again. You type in what rules, if you don't mind me asking. What rules?
You got some rules?
No, no, I'm saying what you say it's an indicator to type in rules. I don't understand.
So essentially, like this would be your chart on MT4, okay? And then right here on the side, it would say like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you just typed in what you're looking for. So for example, with the way this chart is set up, specifically, oh no, I hate when I do that. I'm gonna go to this one now. There we go. So for example, with the way this chart is set up, it would say I need my 8 and 33 cross, check. My MACD fast grain needs to be above the 0 line or below the 0 line, check. My ADX needs to be buyers or sellers in control and momentum above, check. My TDI needs to be above the 50 or momentum pointing upward, check. I need to be breaking past structure, check. Engulfing candle, check. Like, so it gives you this nice little checklist. So when you go to take a trade, you're like,
Awesome.
I have 5 out of 7. I have 6 out of 7.
Wow. I never heard of that one.
But no, you have to create your own rules. Like you still have to write them. It's just like written text on the side of your page.
It's like a sticky note.
There you go. Did anybody got a screenshot of it? Because I played with it for like a half a minute and then forgot about it. It's kind of cool for people who are not yet disciplined or don't know, like, it just keeps you in line. That's all.
Yeah, that sounds wonderful.
Uh-oh, gold is turning to neutral territory. All right, Scott, do you want to, I'm going to give him the option to decline that call.
It's not a sun sign call?
It's not a sun. No, that's my mother called. Thank you about her surgery. Okay.
Oh, well, hopefully she's fine.
She is. She's doing well. She's Italian. She's tough, and she's the strongest woman I know. So I'm super blessed. I am who I am because of her. So other than that, no sunshine calls. Okay. Thank you. But
I'll call you out like Jamie did.
Jamie's like, I don't get that voice. I'm like, Jamie, you call me like at midnight. You call me like at 6 a.m. Like I'm like rolling out of bed. I'm like, hello, hey, what's up? So that's the voice you get is my sleepy voice, and we'll just talk. So, but he calls me on Messenger too, don't you, Jamie? All the time.
Yes,
So.
ma'am. I do.
All right, Scott. What I was getting ready to say was,
Version 8.
would you like to ask the group's opinion on the questions we ran into last night about version 8, or do you want to finish playing? That's kind of also why I held off on switching screens, was because the questions are coming and I can't control them when they come.
Yeah, big breath while I think about this. Essentially where we're at here is we've got some options and we're not sure of which way to go. And a lot of that might depend on your individual trading style.
Now, if this is too advanced for you, if you're not interested in learning this, or you know it's going to blow you out of the water, rather than stay on and fuss about it, you could feel welcome to say, hey, cool, thanks, I'm going to hop off. Now, if you're wanting to expand your mind or just kind of learn different concepts and thoughts, it's not like rocket science. It's just a little more in depth. So you're more than welcome to hang out while we discuss it. Does that sound like a fair, short warning, Scott?
Fair enough.
Okay. Do you want to share your indicator? Your screen, or I guess, yeah, your screen.
Yeah, I guess I can do that.
All right, but I'm going to get a cup of coffee. So just so you know, that means I get like 3.5 minutes for the Keurig to brew and whatever.
So now his wife can say, I hate him again.
So do you need to stop sharing before I can share?
No, his wife is awesome. She's really sweet.
He
I think
knows
she's
I'm being an ASS.
But I'm going to tell you, I'm going to go to that girl power thing real quick.
I don't want, it's bad enough to have one woman mad at you. I don't need two.
You can't take that. Let me tell you, it's coming. Hey, I'm going to grab some coffee. Scott, if you want to discuss, just explain what the dots are and the two options that we're looking at if we want to do points or ATR. Obviously, you guys will let them ask their questions first, maybe. But the concept is to stick with the strategy. So if this is too complex, skip it and jump off. Fair enough?
Fair and square.
I'm getting coffee. 3 minutes.
Okay, I've got my coffee, so I'm happy. So you're looking at version 8, and there's only a little bit still in flux, and it's mostly regarding these dots. So what we're doing, and let me zoom in here and unlock this so we can get over here a ways. So we have two ways of presenting the dots. And one is by points, similar to how we set up the trade manager now for the scalping. And one is by ATR. You're looking at the ATR version. See how they're all different sizes? So the space from our green dot to our red dot here is 95 pips. We're still on a 1 hour, mind you. And this one here, we are 119 pips. And this one here, we're 135 pips. So these are sized depending on how big the candles preceding were. So if the average range of the candles is indicating that we're going to move farther, then we are spacing things further out. And if here they're contracting, and I'm using a fast moving average on the ATR, I had to rewrite the ATR to give me something that was exponential rather than just a linear simple moving average, which is what the standard ATR is. And it collapses down. Now, if you're trading this with the ATR, so that here is your stop loss, here is your lock profit, here is your full take profit. This is 1 ATR away from current price, which is right there. And this is 3 ATR from current price. And this is 1.5 ATR from current price. So that gives you a 2 to 1 if you hit here. So your risk is down to there for your stop loss, and your gain is up there, which is 2 to 1. And this includes the spread. Now, mind you, I'm on AAFX on this screen. This is the one that has the most up-to-date indicator. My other screen is that's on Hugo's Way is tighter spread. But on hour 1, it doesn't matter quite so much. So we also have the option of doing points. So if I take this down to an M1, and we go to the end. So here we had a sell, and we're spacing out in ATR plus our spread. But our spread here on AFX is 4.6. So we have, I see I'm showing the simple right now, not the exponential, but we add our spread and our ATR, and we end up with our targets. Now, if we're using the standard run settings, we would be locking at around 10 pips. So it'd be down here. And our take profit would be somewhere in the 20 to 25 pip range. But this is kind of keeping up, and we're also adding in our spread. So that actually adds quite a bit here at the moment. So that's kind of what the deal with the ATR is. The thing is, it's self-adjusting to the market. So if we have a different pair, get something that doesn't move a lot. We adjust to the size of the candles. This guy's only moving 65 pips a day rather than, more in the neighborhood of 160 pips a day. And so it's self-adjusting. So we have take profits that are reasonable. But the thing to remember is that whether you're moving 3 pips or 65 pips doesn't matter if you're setting your trade size based on your ATR. So this is still a 2 to 1. If you hit this point down here, it's not that, okay, this gave me 7 pips, but your stop loss was up here at 1.5 ATR. So it's a 2 to 1 gain for every trade that you take if you hit your green take profit. If you lock here, you could end up somewhere in between this range. Is that clear to everybody?
That's sweet.
I'm back, guys.
Damn.
Okay, I'm gonna.
Yo, that is so fly.
Oh my God.
Scott, you the man. You've been the man, and you're gonna remain to be the man. The only question I got, if when I go to a higher time frame, if I want to swing trade the dots,
It works.
do I have to adjust the MACD
No.
time setting, or
So-
it's just
1 hour.
The only thing you guys will need to do when you go to a higher time frame, if you're using this exact template, is that dark blue line he's got there. He's got it set at 250 SMA. That only works from the 1 to 5 minute. Every other time frame, so the 5 to 15 is actually, you'd have to make that to match the 3 minute, the difference there. If you're going from the 15 to the 30, that would have to be the what? The 100, right? It would be.
Yep, 2 times 50.
So it'd be 100. You'd have to calculate the difference, or you would take that off. So for example, if you were trading the 1 hour on the based off of the 4 hour criteria, you would put that as a 200 SMA, something Jamie and I have both talked about. Very, very valuable. Definitely a good one to have on
So-
there.
You have to ask yourself, how many 1 hour candles fit inside of the 4 hour?
Yes.
And the answer is 4. Now, careful, how many dailies fit inside of a weekly? It's not 7.
5.
Yeah.
Why
So-
you 5-0?
You just do your multiply of your 50 moving average times whatever that answer is. So the 15 to 30 is only 2. The 30 to 1 hour is only 2.
So I'm going to interject real quick. The purpose of this is that it, number one, it pulls up our stop loss a little bit. So it gives us a slightly better, well, it might more accurately give us a slightly better risk to reward. That's the purpose number one. The purpose number two is people were playing with this strategy on pairs that don't move 10 pips, on slower moving pairs there. This strategy works essentially across the board, but you have to be able to have some market knowledge or a cumulative knowledge for it to do so. This indicator alone will be able to show you what the ATR is. And if you don't think a few pips matter, please keep in mind there is like, I don't know, a couple hundred people who still get paid $15 with IML or whatever they're calling that company now to only go for 2 or 3 pips. 2 or 3 pips, taking a couple of scalps, it adds up to be a lot.
And furthermore, the big banks are doing a lot of trading with algos that are pulling out fractions of pips.
Did you guys understand what he just said?
Yes, because they got pretty pennies that they're.
Yep, you've got to have you've got to trade large lot sizes. So what's the difference is here? So we're on EuroCAD, and if we're down on EuroCAD on a 1 minute, we have not very far. Let's see here. Where can't even see that candle. We'll pull that one. So our first take profit, that's only 1.7 pips, and that's including the spread. That doesn't make any sense.
Are you on AFX again?
Yeah. It's just the one, I don't have the up-to-date indicator on Hugo's Way.
Oh, gotcha. So do you have it set at 2 or no?
This is set at 1. But the thing is, what my point here, I may have an error. I have to look into that. But oh, I know why. Because it's current spread, not the spread that was at this time.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So we have a short distance to this guy. It's only a couple of pips. And so the end result is that in order to make that 2 to 1 and to get your target amount of gain on that, you're going to be trading a really large lot size. And so you got to have the leverage to do it.
Well, no, we discussed this. So again, ultimately, you guys, this strategy, so the next strategy I start teaching in about 4 weeks or so, or a handful of weeks, whenever that comes, we're going to be using this indicator, and I'm going to show you exactly how to swing with this indicator. I am not going to filter myself by your feelings. I'm going to talk about GBP pairs. And yes, this indicator will protect you from you with all due respect. It'll protect me from me as well. So that bigger, stop loss, it's going to be kind of factored in. If you go to a GBP pair, the ATR is going to be higher simply because it moves more. But the whole concept is, if we chose to do the ATR, and this is what we talked about last night, you could no longer go for 10% on the scalping. You'd probably have to go for closer to 5% based off of the first TP, or what we would call your trailer, the yellow. You would have to go for 5% based off of the yellow. But the thing is, you wouldn't hit your stop loss very often. And ultimately, Scott is going to he is in the process of creating a duplicate version of the Ron's Trade Manager. And as you know, before I tell you guys to buy any indicator, I would tell you to buy information or tell you to buy a manager. So that manager is going to be amazing. The whole concept is going to be that it will manage every one of these entries you find, whether you're scalping or you're swinging, that you would be so, on point that it's going to be taking you, protecting you, knocking you into profit. And then you just go find your next trade, So 5% doesn't seem like much, but if you took 10 scalps in a day, you still potentially would be somewhere around 6 figures in 3 weeks, mathematically speaking, with an 89% accuracy ratio. It would take 3 weeks based off of 10, 15 scalps a day, based off of that kind of algorithm, if you will. So you just have to lower it, though. You can't do 10% anymore.
Sweeter than bear meat.
And so the revised RONS is going to be able to trade in ATR. So it will do the same settings as what the dots are. And it should snap itself in and take the trades in that exact way.
And it's going to automatically take you out the trade also?
Yep.
The question for my free thinkers on this call that we kind of ran into is, how would we want to program that? So you don't have to answer right now. Maybe we can, think on it and talk about it next week. Is how would you program that to say, when we hit the yellow dot, not only did it move you into profit, right? Because this is a multi-step process. It would A, have to move you into profit, and B, it would have to either scale you out, so trim some of it, okay? So we'd want to trim like half, maybe, give or take. So take some of it off the table. Maybe 25%, I think, is probably better. So take 25% of the value of your trade off the table, protect it by moving it into break even. And then, of course, we'd want to trail it somehow. So that's a 3-step process that would happen when price gets to the yellow area. So how would you guys want that programmed? That was kind of what we were discussing last night, of maybe somebody else has a good idea that we can consider.
That sounds wonderful. Scott, you're going to have my next illegitimate child.
Oh, shut up.
That is sweet. Wow. That is sweet.
Jenny, was you able to use that EA that I sent you over, that where it sort of opened up 2 trades and it would close one at TP and bring your stops to break even and then let the rest run?
I do not want EA created off of anything that I teach, because I don't think EAs are effective. But a trade manager is an expert advisor. I just don't want it to be auto trading. So to answer,
no. I mean, it was basically a trade manager, but I just weren't sure if it would help Scott with that.
Yeah, what he shared with me was a EA that had a couple. I think it has buy and sell buttons on it. When you open up the trade, it opens up 2 of them, sets different take profits. It's a way of setting up the scale, similar to how you, Jenny, did the multiple targets, the 22, 33, 77, and runner.
That's how I made my first 6 figures with trading. That's what I did.
What was that? How did you make the first 6 figures?
I scaled in 4 times, 4 trades, 4 to 5 pairs. That's what I did.
Oh.
Now, if we're opening up, something that's not a 0.01, we can take off half of our trade at the yellow dot, or some percentage of the trade at the yellow dot, and then move to break even and let the rest of it run.
Yeah, like take half of it off.
Yep. Or, whatever percentage we want. Let's say we want to move the green dot way out to let it run and then trail after that. And we take a percentage off that takes care of our our trading costs. So we're better than break even. So we're covering our spread, we're covering our commission. And then let it run and see what happens. The issue here is that notice when we get down into this barbed wire fence area where we're punching back down, and we don't quite hit our lock, we're taking a lot of losses in here. So the downside of pulling your stop loss in is that you're going to hit it more often. But your
Well, wait a
stop
minute.
loss,
Doesn't that area that you're, I'm going to draw on your chart real quick. Isn't this area filtered by the EMA filter? So this should be filtered because of the dot. And this is in between the fractals, right? All three lines would be filtered.
yeah, probably will. Yeah, I should point that out. Notice down here, we've got the words ADX and ATR here. This is a warning from the indicator. ADX says that ADX is less than a preset threshold, which is settable by you. You can choose 20, 25, whatever you want for your minimum ADX. And so it's saying that, you know, we don't have enough movement right now to take a trade. It's just a warning. The arrows will still appear. It's up to you to look at that.
Yeah.
ATR says that your average true range is small compared to your spread by a preset multiplier. So if
and
the
what
way
does,
I have it set right now is that ATR times 2 has to be bigger than your spread.
Gotcha.
and what does the say for the moving average? What does the alert say right there?
It'll say in.
IN?
Yep. And so that means that all three of your major moving averages, your 50, your 9, and your 3, are all inside of the latest fractals that were drawn.
Hayden, we're going to release this. This is based off of my strategy, Scott's creation. Wayne, no, you're responsible for your entry. You have to get good at it. So what you guys don't understand is everyone's impatient. This is the 1-minute chart. Let me clear my current drawings. So technically, guys, this was right. This was right. This was right. All of these were right. All of these were possible entries. They all would have been right, but your account can only hold so many at one time. So if you had the patience to let that play out, you would have won this, and then you would have won here, give or take, depending on the pair, just even based off of the regular strategy. And then this is the big win. So that's what, nobody can hold it that long. They get impatient, they walk away, they get frustrated. So somebody mentioned maybe scaling more dots and to scale in and out like I did, but I'm not a coder and I'm not, it's not my expertise. But from my understanding is if we took 50% off at this yellow dot, for example, and our spread was covered and we were at break even, we have guaranteed winners probably close to 95-ish, give or take, in the low 90s% of the time. And then the problem, the conversation that comes in between you guys and why you're on here and why we're asking is we need to find a way to catch more of these moves without affecting or expanding our stop loss. We need to keep the same risk to reward ratio or better.
Gotcha.
Is that,
and, you know, looking at an area where we have kind of a clear uptrend that's happening is a little bit unfair. You know, you can say, okay, we just moved the stop loss down quite a ways and we've got clear winners here. But there are going to be other times when that is a losing strategy.
Yeah.
You know, right here, we put our stop loss down here. Now we're going to hit our stop loss and we're never going to get close to locking a profit.
Oh, gotcha.
wait a minute, what was that one? See, that's that darn bias change, Scott. Look, bias change.
Yep.
That's 3 and the 9 cross.
I know, but sometimes it gets you into a trade that you never would have been a part of.
And then this is the MACD. It missed. What is this one? So this one shouldn't be here because that's a 3 and a 9 cross down, not up, right?
I'm going to expand in on that. Hang on.
We're really perfecting it to where you can, for the most part, trust these arrows. We're perfecting it to where your stop loss and your management is figured out.
That's a MACD. This is a 3-9 cross.
Somebody's eating. I hope it's delicious because we can hear you chewing. Just
I
saying.
was wondering what that sound was.
I know, right? I know.
I wish it was
Hey,
me.
Jenny, I had
I'm
a
hungry.
question.
I know, right? What are you guys gonna eat for breakfast? Where'd Brett go? Because we haven't talked about Chick-fil-A in a minute.
Oh, Lord. Well, it's better than last time. What was that, about a few months ago when the wife came on and she just started cursing?
I don't know. I think the naked guy takes the cake.
I'm glad I didn't see that.
But naked, like, yeah, that's not gonna work. Pat is not gonna be okay with this. Turn your stuff off if you don't know, dude.
Jenny, I got a question for you.
Hey, Anthony, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Wonderful.
The arrows. I know most of the trades I've been taking haven't been strictly by the arrow. I mean, I'm not relying completely off of the arrow when it pops up. I don't just jump in the trade. I still verify the conditions that I'm looking for. However, would it be possible?
Hello?
Hello?
We're here,
I think
Anthony.
you went away.
Yeah.
Hold on, you're cutting out, but I value what you have to say because
Okay.
you're one of the ones doing pretty well with the.
Okay, I'm back. So would it be possible to color code those arrows?
I talked to Scott about that, and actually, I wanted him to label them or color code them, and we ultimately voted no on that because then now you're going to have a rainbonic mess. In which case, you're still going to need to know what it is, and again, that's just an administration nightmare. You guys have to be. You still have to understand what we're doing. So you have to be able to look at the arrow and say, why am I getting this? And if you don't understand why you're getting the arrow, please don't take it. Because ultimately you can still see the way he coded this, Scott, if you'll stay still for just a second. So see this center part right here, how that's a different color. This center part is a different color. This is purple. So you guys see that? This is a green center part. So this little area, the way that he's got it coded tells you what we needed to know on the next higher time frame, but nobody even understands that. This is yellow because it's in neutral territory, which means it's kind of bouncing around the 50. It's not above or below on the next higher time frame. This one is bearish because we are below the 50 on the next higher time frame, and the fast MACD is below the 50. This one is neutral because it's either on the 0 or it's bouncing around the 50. This
Yeah,
one
the
is
neutral is formed by, remember, you have three rules that are determining. It's the price is below 50 or above 50, the 3 EMA is above or below 50, and the MACD, the fast MACD on the upper time frame is above or below 0. And so if all things are in alignment, you'll be bullish or bearish. If there's any conflict in those three determiners, then you are yellow.
So we're giving you all the information. Then of course the MACD is what it should be. It's simply the fast and the slow. It's not that different from the traditional MACD. If you guys have ever pulled them side by side, they're pretty comparable. They're just different visually. So that tells you the arrows. Okay, those are just like, look at me. They're not like, hey, put your mortgage on this, right? But we're trying to hone them in. But I think that Scott and I ultimately said we can't label them, and colors would just be a nightmare. Because then you've got this.
Remember, you can turn arrows on and off in the settings.
True.
I turned the bias ones off. Did you say that they get you into a trade earlier sometimes, Scott?
Yeah, when the bias changes, I'm throwing an arrow up, and there is a switch for that. You can turn it on and off. But the thing is that when you get a bias change, sometimes I'd have to find a good example of that. But sometimes you'll get a bias change that will get you into a trade. You know, if this guy pulled away and just started dropping right here, this bias arrow would have gotten you in, but the crossover happened when you were still in neutral. In this case, this is a bad example because they both seem to happen at the same time. But sometimes the bias change is the only thing that gets you into a trade that runs for a very long time.
I'll switch that back on then.
If price starts moving exponentially, you know, you don't want to miss it. It's really a drag to sit and watch things go against you. You know, if you're in, let's say you've been in bearish territory all day and things suddenly reverse and goes bullish and travels 100 pips and you missed the whole damn thing. It's a drag.
Yeah.
And so you're trying to decide, do I trade the system?
Yeah. So that's kind of, does anybody have any input, suggestions, ideas? Mostly management is what I'm interested in discussing personally, but that's my style for all of you, those who know me well. I just want to perfect that ATR, that the take profits, both of them, and the stop loss, because ultimately
that
that's
sounds wonderful.
Hey, I like to chime in, and I hate to do this. I hate to do this. This is Dietrich again. I hate to do this. I know Scott is busy, and I shot at him like 3 or 4 indicators, and one is an oscillator, and I don't know why. It's not a stochastic. It's not a MACD. And I love his MACD. His MACD is the bomb. What Scott doing is amazing. It's amazing. I'm mind blown. But it's a way you can pick a top and a bottom, even though in every book and course they tell you you can't. And I want to shoot that indicator to the group. And when you look at it, Jenny, you can tell me later. You, Scott, and you, Jenny, you can tell me later, but this indicator is picking tops and bottoms with a vertical line.
Yeah, but
you can tell me about it later.
I spent some time with that.
What's up? What you think?
I spent some time with those indicators that you set up. All 3 of them repaint.
Oh man, that sucks. Because when they line up together, I kick ass.
Yeah,
I kick ass when they line up together. Oh, that sucks.
No profanity. No profanity on this.
I'm sorry. My apologies. Because when they line up, boy, I kick butt. Oh boy,
it's just
on
like
the 1
the
hour
big
chart
arrow.
and above. One
The
hour
thing
chart and
is that
above.
just because something repaints doesn't mean it's not useful, but you have to understand that it repaints and you're going to lose some.
Yeah, when that vertical line kicks in, you know what I'm talking about, Scott. I'll be happy. I'll be, woo, it's getting it.
And you look in hindsight, and it's great.
Yeah, 2020. All right, I'm going to get off here because I don't know what I'm talking about. Scott does. Okay, people listen to him. Don't listen to me.
I'm all for using a repainting indicator, but you have to confirm it with something that doesn't.
Yes. Scott, can you do me a favor?
Checks and balances.
Hey, Scott, will you do me a favor?
Yeah.
Send me that vertical line indicator, but do it with your trails on it so I can see how bad it is.
I'd have to have the source code in order to do that.
Oh, you don't have trails on it? So how often does it repaint?
I sat and watched it for a while on a 1-minute chart and pretty frequently.
Yep, not interested. Sorry. I got enough stuff that repaints. I mean, you could drop a screenshot in the scalp group, and you can send me the version to my Telegram and I'll take a look. But here's the thing. We can go to a naked chart and find zones. So like Jamie, he does more naked stuff. Naked trading is like uber easy, but people don't trust themselves. It takes confidence. Okay. Like a little bit of Barbara even has those support and resistance indicator kind of doohickey on her chart. So those are awesome, but timing a top and timing a bottom is a great way to give away your money. Like if you're asking me, you're still better off. And even Jamie said himself, and I've said 1,000 times, I don't get in at the top. I get in with confirmation. So I get in once it makes a breakout and then does a pullback. Stevenson Lindor, once it makes a breakout and then after a pullback. A lot of major players and major traders, they go with the trend at a pullback. They go not timing a top, not trying to take the beginning of a reversal. We want to take the confirmation of a reversal. That's the difference.
And that
The tops and bottoms is the easiest place for the markets to manipulate.
Well,
because of the spikes.
Well, yeah, because listen, right? I've showed you guys that on my chart where like I'm going to draw on your stuff. This
breakout.
This baby, oh, come on, silly butt. Where'd it go? There we go. This baby move, like this much of the candle, is worth more than this whole move because this is where the banks play. The banks play when they're messing everybody over right here.
Okay, that's where they kick you out.
They kick you out in the tops and the bottoms, and it doesn't even have to be 100 pips. Everyone's worried about 100 pips in the drawdown. On 100 pips in drawdown with the trend is not bad. 10 pips in drawdown against the trend can blow your whole account, because it's different. It's not worth the same. It's really interesting, but yeah.
And remember too that price gets there anywhere there is because the banks put it there.
Yes.
They can push the
Oh.
price around.
Manipulation.
Yep, they say, don't play rope-a-dope all day long. And there's short-term rope-a-dope and there's long-term rope-a-dope.
What is rope-a-dope?
Woo, woo, you showing your age, Scott.
Yeah, just before her
Derek, you
time.
wanna do that one?
Rope-a-dope, Muhammad Ali.
Yeah,
There you
watch,
go. There you go.
yeah, watch the movie Ali.
Rope-a-dope, huh?
You probably saw his daughter.
Don't watch the movie. Go to the tapes and the footage. Back when what was his name? This
Foreman,
is Howard
George
Cosell.
Foreman.
Howard Cosell. And
Oh no, you don't. You're gonna go there. Oh man,
Jenny,
he had a toupee
Jenny.
before Steve Harvey.
Hey, Derek.
To put it very simply, it was a technique that Muhammad Ali used against a stronger, more powerful puncher than he was, to allow this puncher to punch himself out or to weaken his opponent. And then eventually he knocked him out.
I'm totally looking this up on Urban Dictionary because that's a key word and it sounds like a fun word to say, but I don't know that word.
See,
What
Jenny,
he did was he let him tire himself out. He will block every blow the best he could. He let that big strong puncher just keep punching at him, and he would keep blocking it and deflecting every blow. So that person got so tired because he was so big and strong, and he talked trash before the fight for weeks. So that person was so mad at him that I'ma beat his butt. He talking about my mama and my wife and stuff, and he was so mad that you go in there with the strength and you punch and punch and punch for 6 to 8, 9 rounds, and you tire yourself out trying to fight him. And then when you tired, he had a rib broke. Then he put work on you.
Well, put it this way: I was at a seminar with George Foreman, and he was probably the most powerful puncher ever, way more powerful than Mike Tyson. And he talked about when he fought Muhammad Ali, and he said he hit Muhammad Ali with all the punches that knocked everyone out. And then he said Ali leaned to his ear and said, "That's all you got?" And he said that was all he had, and then it reversed. So, but back to trading.
It was called rope-a-dope because he used to go back against the rope, and normally when a fighter catches another one on the rope, then he has him where he wants him. But Ali would go against the rope, and then the other puncher would be punching him, and he would be blocking it and absorbing the punches. So
that was another way of conserving energy.
Yeah.
So to bring this back into trading, the banks will appear to capitulate where price is going to start to go in a particular direction. They'll help fund the opposition a little bit and draw the price into a certain area where they need to load up with more orders, because the banks are sitting up here. They've got a bunch of money they need to move and take the price down. So they've got their orders stacked up. They're taking some orders and price comes down. They capitulate a little bit, and the people that have been buying are bringing it up. And once they get all their orders in, then price will start to go down.
Yeah. Hey, Scott, somebody messaged in the chat and said, can you add divergence? You're like, oh man.
Yeah, can I? Sure.
Yeah, you can.
Is it worth it?
It's not that hard to draw, it's right here.
If you do that, Scott, you're gonna have lines all over the place, especially on the shorter time frame, Scott. I really advise against that.
I'm with you.
I can attest to that
This is
too.
already too damn busy.
Yeah,
I can attest to that too. Divergence on a smaller time frames will not work.
Yeah, I agree too, because it should be for swing trading for a 1 hour, 4 hour and above, not for scalping.
You could program it to only appear on the 30-minute, 1 hour, and 4 hour charts.
Yeah, you can do that. However, the thing is You got a 4-hour candle. You can't take 5 seconds and draw some lines.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. I'm with you on that one, Scott.
Oh, see, there you go. There you go. Okay, well then the answer is no to the guy who asked. Sorry about that. Hey, Avery, what's up with the news? Where's my new
Hey, how's it going? Nothing. After the trade deal was signed, I didn't see any fireworks or anything like that. Gold's been ranging, and USDJPY is pushing up a little bit, but they signed up in the trade deal, and they're talking about a phase 2. Outside of that, nothing.
But the tariffs are going to remain the same, and China has to buy X amount of stuff from us, right?
China has to buy an X amount of stuff. They got to buy a lot of stuff from us. Will they actually do it? Who knows? They already made an announcement saying that there's a minor caveat with the phase 1 trade deal. So if you ask me, I think it's more for show.
Of course.
Each country has to save face. Trump has to save face because, he's going through his impeachment stuff. President Xi has to save face because the Chinese economy is going down.
Hey, what's up with the impeachment, by the way?
Nancy Pelosi. Nancy Pelosi already hired 7 impeachment managers. So it's moving forward. It's heading to the Senate. But I think that Mitch McConnell is not going to allow the, to testify, any witnesses to testify.
Did Nancy Pelosi send it to the Senate?
Yeah, they already have it. The Senate already has it.
Okay, last I heard, they hadn't sent it yet, and it was like they were waiting to see what the results of the election were before they forwarded it to the Senate.
No,
they sent it yesterday.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they were on all night, and it's a dog and pony show. And as
try to
Prince Harry
miss that
moves to
stuff.
North America, maybe Trump will move to Europe. Who knows?
So in my opinion, the markets are going to be slowed down just because of everything else that's going on in the trade deal that happened yesterday. So.
Hey, I've got a silly question for you. Now, my mother, who watches PBS and all that other stuff, and again, she's kind of recovering from, so she's had a lot of time on her hands. Needless to say, she called me and she said she heard something on the news about changes in. Oops, somebody's got background noise. We don't want to eavesdrop. Come on, let me mute everybody if I can remember how. There it is. All right, he's gone, I think. I don't have the control to do that right now. But either way, I heard something that trading was going to be, they're increasing the laws on retail traders to make it to where the time frame management is going to be constricted or restricted. Have you heard anything about that? Avery?
Bloomberg would have that information more than anyone.
I looked on Bloomberg and I was like, Mom, I don't know what you're talking about. Maybe it was an ad or something.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Have you
Okay.
heard any weird information about new regulations for retail traders?
Nope, but I'll be happy to look into it.
All right, you find out. Now, granted, it's from my mother, okay, and she means well, but it could have been like an ad or something from one of those stupid trading companies. I'm like, Mom, I can't find it. She goes, no, honey, no, I promise it was the news. So, needless to say, I
Possibly.
can't find it.
But yeah, I haven't heard of anything about it, but I will look into it because if that's happening, I need to find another hobby.
Yeah, that would be scary.
Well, there's a one company who advertises every morning on my Alexa Good Morning, but and I forget what it's called. It's one of those trade servers, and it's an awful one. It's not fun to use, and they have way too much manipulation, but they have stupid stuff like that all the time too. So I'm wondering if it was an ad, but then I looked into it, and there's a lot of hype about the amount of retail traders that have entered the market, and that being the cause of the 6.6 trillion. And of course, volume was down. So it was us little people, us, with all due respect, stupid people, who literally increased the market by 0.9 trillion. So 90, what is that? Yeah, 90% of $1 trillion, whatever that number is. Sorry, I don't want to do that number in public, but we're the ones who created that increase. So it would follow suit if that's the case.
I agree with you. To be honest, I haven't seen so many like random YouTube people popping up talking about Forex in my life. Like I literally found like 10 to 20, maybe because my YouTube aggregate has changed, but I'm finding like 10 to 20 fly by night, just random people who claim they trade Forex and all these big Forex conventions and things like that. So There's a lot of hype to push people into the retail market. So
let me
a
tell
little bit
you,
scary.
I was sitting down eating breakfast yesterday, and the guy sitting next to me was a Forex coder, and I'll leave it at that.
Nice. Nice. Everybody's an expert when it comes to their bank account. So
what would that law do if they pass? I mean, I'm not really familiar with how that works.
So again, we're now, bear in mind, I'm not trying to be a fear monger. I try not to talk about things like that in public without any foundation, but I was asking my news guy there what he thought, because now some of it's factual. The influx of retail traders in 2019 was literally 500 to 1 it was the year before. So that doesn't mean any of them stuck around. So a lot of people probably handed their butts over and then walked away. Let's be honest, right? But now what that does long term to the market, I can't say, and I don't think none of us who aren't an economic expert can say.
I don't think there's enough money in retail traders to move the market.
Gotcha.
Hey, Scott. Oh, that's my last question. But we, the people, do have enough money. We do. I promise you, we do. Don't underestimate the little guy, because if please keep that in mind. If 10% of the population put 5% of their income into the retail market, into the foreign exchange market, we would have a very good chance of beating the banks.
True, but you know, the big boys always put fear in the small people, and the small people are
psychologically
reactionary.
I'll tell you why I think that it's slowed down.
Not going to make it because they're not going to be disciplined and focused and dedicated enough to stick with it for 4 or 5 years to make sure to become successful, et cetera, et cetera.
Just look at it this way. If women would bond together in the U.S., they would dictate who's president.
Oh, really?
More women than men, right? But the games they play, women can never be president. And then they have people questioning it. If all the women bond together and say, F that, we're going to pick whoever,
Well, I'll tell you the reason that I think that technically the volume has increased because there's more money being moved, but the amount of movement has reduced. And I think the big reason for that is algos.
Say that again?
I think it's algorithms. It's automatic trading from the big banks. They're absorbing the orders and moving things around. We're not getting the big moves as quickly.
So in other words, they're manipulating.
Or smoothing it out because they're able to take things faster and absorb.
And the government is so focused on Donald Trump and the trade deal that no one's noticing that there's insider trading going on. Bet. Come on.
Yeah, they've always done that.
No one's noticing. We'll give it once this.
The government is the insider trader.
That's hey, there you go.
The Fed is one of the biggest movers of the market right now.
Yeah.
Look, I haven't seen so much volatility when they had those rumors about World War III since I started trading. It was like 2017 all over again, in my opinion.
Just think about the money that was just made with Brexit. Just with the Brexit talk recently.
400 pips in one move. And
wow.
That was only based on a exit poll. Then it moved on the actual results just based on the exit poll. Moved the market 400 pips.
Yeah,
just a rumor. Just a rumor.
Hey, somebody paid a lot of money.
Real quick, Scott, put on gold just so we can maybe catch this final drop if it gives it to us. If it gives us confirmation, we'll sell it one more time. I've caught quite a few entries. And then I had one more thing. Oh, I know what it is. So we're going to put all of our stuff on a spreadsheet. On a spreadsheet, sorry, on a website. So Scott and I were talking about it. Donna, please don't chime in with our female stuff because we're creating something else female oriented too. But in terms of all the information for the scalping group and anything that's my intellectual property, I'm going to have it all accessible through Pat's group, through Super Easy. Contractually, involved. And I was thinking something along the lines of we the people. What do you guys think? Do you hate it? Do you love it?
Cool.
How would you expand upon it or improve it or change it? Hold on, let me go to Scott. What do you guys think? This would be your website too. So we the
Sounds
people,
wonderful.
Forex, we the people, wow, there's
Trading.
a lot of those. Huh. Any ideas?
Yes.
What's
Let me tell you
what's
what
the
I
goal,
think.
Jenny? I think the goal in there is good. Is it freedom? Is it freedom family? Is it what's your end goal?
Well, I've already owned a lot of websites. My mama taught me better, Decide Freedom. So many, Called to Freedom International. Called to Freedom, and then the other company bought out the rest. So either way, what's the goal is
Scalp to freedom, is it?
my goal is to be impactful. My goal is to help create other financially free people. So what does that mean? For some people, it might mean 6 figures. For some people, making $60,000 a year part-time from home in their pajamas with no bra on, that's gold, right? So depending on what your level is, my ultimate purpose is to make an impact, is to create a small, close-knit, well, maybe not small, but a family in atmosphere where we share life, where we connect on a connection basis, as well as trading and news and life, of people who are financially free. And that means time freedom. That means making a difference in some way or another. It could be with your paycheck. It could be with your time that you're volunteering. It could be whatever, but I want to work with people who are making an impact and be somebody who makes an impact. So that's
Forex.
What do you guys think?
Sounds good to me. I'm a technical guy, so usually marketing people are good at names.
Yo, that sounds awesome. It's beautiful. I never heard nothing like it. Women with no bra, with no
I
bras
know,
on
he
at
sound
home.
like he have an orgasm, huh?
Oh no.
Women with no bras on at home, and I'm in my pajamas. Oh man, I'm all for this.
Man, Dietrich, she said all that great stuff, and Dietrich, you walked away with woman with no bra on.
I know. Hey,
Selective hearing.
it must be the beard from last night. Cut the rope, baby.
I'm going to take the Bill Clinton policy on that one.
Guess what? Today's message is brought to you by Yummy Coffee. Yummy coffee.
There you go. It's about time.
I know
we
that.
might need to edit this video for parental guidance.
Can I ask you all a question?
Yes, please.
On the
settings.
Wait.
On a serious note, that sounds lovely.
On the Mac
Somebody in the background talking.
Yeah.
How many people
BSing
are
right now.
using these trigger arrow settings?
Okay, there you go.
Scott, hey, Jonathan, but we can hear you, so please mute yourself. I don't want to eavesdrop.
Oh, okay.
It's okay.
So
Scott,
how many people are using these trigger arrow settings?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Put a 1 in the chat, please, if you guys are using those settings or you wanted to take them away. Put a 1 in the chat if you use them. Put a 2 if you don't.
I use them for additional confirmation.
Me too. I use them.
So I have a suggestion too that that anyone can add. I got a free indicator from the MT4 store called the MA Crossover. So it just puts an arrow when there's a 309 cross. You can program it to put an arrow when there's a 309 cross. So that helps me out a lot with just spotting those crosses. So if I see that arrow,
the yellow arrow will do the same thing if you just reset it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's a
sweet.
crossover arrow. That's all it is.
Yeah, I did
Awesome.
that. Yeah,
Hey,
on the
Avery, doing that, please do me a favor. Do like the 3 and the 8, speed it up slightly because indicators lag. So I always move mine up by 1 or depending on the strategy.
Okay.
So if you're using something along those lines, speed it up slightly so you're not delayed. Because keep in mind, that has to close, that Kindle has to close. So it's going to come in too late. And a lot of times it's going to be a little bit lagging. So just something to consider.
I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
But yeah, if I see those two lining up, then I'm taking it. So I don't use the arrow independently, but if I see the 309 cross and that arrow come at the same time with the MACD, then I know that I have a good trade.
So the reason I'm
Jamie,
asking
there's
the
a
question,
setting in there, somewhere in there. I'm trying to go back through and look at it again. I was testing it for gold and for the pound. It's something in the MACD I set that gives me that alert when it crosses I think it's crossing the 50 and with the 3 above. I was looking at using it on a 5-minute chart. Like I'm trying to go back and look at it now because it alerted me at about 7:45 this morning, and on the pound Aussie, and it's just been going to the roof ever since. I don't know which setting it was in Scott's MACD that I used to do that.
well, right, the version of the MACD that you have does not do alerts. I added that for version 8.
So
So it
now I'm
must have
really
been something else.
Okay.
You will have alerts with this one. Once I release
Maybe
this
it
version.
was a 9. Maybe it was a cross of the 3 and the 50 that I used on something else. I'm trying to find it again. I don't know where it came from.
You can reset the yellow arrow indicator to give you alerts. And you can set those moving averages to whatever you want. I do believe, though, that they are always exponential.
Yes.
So there, as Avery, I think it was Avery that said that, there are other moving average cross indicators that allow you full settings.
Okay.
Any other questions, comments, or suggestions in terms of this indicator? Because this is it. I mean, I don't want to spend the rest of our lives just only advancing this indicator. I want us to grow and advance in many ways. So I know, of course, there's a billion things we can do, but we want to try to do this right and not overdo everything. So to answer the person in the chat, WCU is still good. So I shouldn't have spoke about that topic on a live call. But I learned some new things. I was researching the difference between the value of the currency at an actual exchange, the WCU, and a few other forms of information that we get based on the value of each currency. And what I found out was quite interesting, but I need to grow a little bit deeper into it before I talk about it in public. So I would talk about like that in private, like to Jamie pretty much, or like maybe 1 or 2 other people. But it's pretty cool. So for right now, can you still use that? Yes, you can. So is there any way to get with even for a fee? This will help me try and get me. Oscar, we don't understand your question. Better comprehension of how to use this strategy on their downtime. Oscar, are you there?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. How are you?
Hey, how you doing?
Wonderful.
Everybody. Yeah. So what I'm saying is that I've been trying to catch up on what's going on here. I like everything, how everything's looking, but I still don't get a good grasp on what's going on. I don't even have my chart set up yet. So, so I'm trying to just figure out how to get started here.
You probably should start with setting up your chart. So in the pinned group, in the scalping group, there's a very short 10-minute video. And then from there, it gets deeper and deeper and deeper. A lot of hanging out, a lot of odd conversations. This is kind of the format. I'm hoping to call more scalps and trades actively, but it's a little difficult to do sometimes when we're just nothing but talking. So I would keep an eye on gold for one more scalp, by the way, once you get the confirmation, not yet, just so you know. In terms of this indicator, we will release it when we are ready. It is not ready.
For right now, just use what you got up there pinned at the
Yeah, you have version 7 up there, but we're just trying to make sure that this time, because once he's done with this, I'm going to be hiring Scott for other things. So, and I promise you, this is cool, but what's to come is cooler, believe it or not. This is amazing, but some of the other things is even better, which we can't get there if, we don't move past this, right?
Yeah.
So in all fairness, now for those of you who haven't been in the last 2 months or whatever since we started this, no biggie. 90% of our silly conversations are going to be there. They're recorded. There's a lot of fluff and a lot of jokes. There's a lot of good days where we took 15 scalps in a day or 10 scalps in a day. There's some slow days where we pretty much talked and took 3. but that's the real of it. So.
And by the way, I keep getting questions like this. Most of you know this. So in Telegram, first of all, this is the pinned message that Jenny was talking about. This right here opens up a sidebar. And in that sidebar, you have files, videos, photos, all sorts of stuff. So you go into files, indicators are here. So you can get to everything that you need and everything that everybody's talking about. It's all there. So asking to have it reposted is not necessary.
Yes, true.
Jenny, you're such a financial flirt. That's all I got to say.
Scott,
this is good,
I
but
think
it's
you
going to
were,
be much better later.
I know.
Scott,
Right?
I think you were going to make a point about those white arrow indicators. I don't think you ever finished it, or did I miss it?
Right, I didn't. And basically, the question was, are those white arrows, do you individually control those a lot, or do you tend to just leave them on? Or do you take some of the triggers off?
I leave everything as you have it set.
So everything by default. How about does anybody else turn things on and off in there? Take only certain signals.
I don't take every signal, but I leave everything on as default. What Scott built. And that means I'm not a computer programmer. Therefore, Scott's the man. I'm gonna leave him on. Now, do I take every signal? No, that's based upon my interpretation of what the market is doing at that moment.
Okay, but keep in mind, Dietrich, that what Scott built is based off of my strategy and it's based off of your knowledge. So I understand what you're saying, but we still want you to have some ownership of it. So just so we're on the same page. So what Scott built is awesome. He is the coder. What Jenny did is awesome. I'm a great trader. But at the end of the day, it's your bank account. So let's make sure that we're still taking the whole, do I see it? How can I improve it to be best for me kind of mentality, just so we're on the same page, okay?
That's what I agree to.
Okay.
I did turn off the fractals on that. The other thing I was playing around with is I have no grips on how Elvis's strategy works, and I noticed that if you set the MACD to on the 5-minute chart and then set the bias to the daily, I was trying to play with it to see if maybe he was seeing it.
Please don't do that.
It doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. I have no clue, and at this point, I've raised the white flag on that.
Okay, so just real quick, please don't combine this with or here. You can combine everything, and I highly recommend that. But don't try to use this in that multi-time frame, that big of a gap, because it will be ineffective. So I don't care if it was my strategy or the guy next door's or some billionaires, it doesn't matter. But if you try to do this with the 1 minute, the 1 day bias, it's not the same. It's a way different thinking. Not to say it doesn't have some advantages, but for what this is on the screen, that's a no-go. To answer your question about Elvis's strategy, it is not complex. He is using the very tried and true, the very public, the very knowledgeable Ichimoku system. It is not complicated. He is taking the 5-minute crossovers and sometimes the higher time frame crossovers of the TK cross on the 5-minute chart that's in line with the daily color of the candle. That's it. And I promise you, if you can hear me say that sentence one more time, he is taking the TK cross of the Ichimoku trading system on the 5-minute chart when it is the same color as the daily candle. That's it. Gotcha?
I like to chime in. What you gave me with the scout strategy, the 5-minute, 1 minute, I personally cannot stand to look at a 1 minute chart because it's like watching paint dry. I took the same strategy with Scott's MACD on an hour and 15-minute chart, and that's how I like to trade. People out there listening, do you? They're giving you a strategy that works on a 1 minute chart. If it works on a 1 minute chart, it works on any 2 different time frames. The 1 minute chart is the hardest thing to trade in the world. They gave you the best thing on the entire planet. You can go to Saturn, you won't find a better strategy. You can go Jupiter. You can leave this solar system. You ain't gonna find one. It's about you follow you. I'm gonna say it again. You taking responsibility for you following the rules. You again. Guess what happens after that? You following the rules, and then find out what's best for you. They love you here. They love you here.
Gold's got an entry. Gold's got an entry coming up right now. So you see that happening in real time. Sorry, we will interrupt for a trade, just so you guys know. But yes, we will interrupt for a trade. You guys see what's happening. So does anybody know why you got that arrow?
The MACD cross on the zero, MACD cross 0.
Yep. And we also had the 3 and the 9 cross, but we didn't get an arrow for that because of I think I know why. So that's an entry. That would be my 5th entry, just playing around.
Yeah, the reason you didn't get that entry, or the reason you didn't get the 3-9 cross is because it happened while it was neutral, or no, while the MACD was still above the line.
That's why. Yep.
I actually got in on the cross a little early.
Well, that's where
it was bouncing below the 50, so I just took it.
As a manual trader, when that cross happened and it broke that MACD, so manually just me, that's where I would have gotten in. So I took it when the arrow came up. Just so you know.
Hey, Jenny, this is DJ. I have a question.
Yes, sir. How can I help you?
Okay, well, when I first started using this strategy, I had really good results. Like I put a little bit of money in there. Like it was like only $5. I just wanted to play around with it, and I turned that $5 into like $65 like in 2 days, and I was like, wow, this thing is crazy. But then ever since then, I've been losing a lot, and I'm trying to figure out what I'm doing wrong. I think what I'm doing wrong is my re-entries, because I may be mistaken. After I reached my target profit, I thought I was supposed to immediately enter in another position. Am I supposed to wait until another fractal break or into another cross? Or
You are not supposed to immediately enter into another position. That is not part of no.
Okay, so that's probably where, yeah. So then I wait for the conditions to reset and then enter again?
Yes, and the conditions, so right now we have arrows, but if it works for you in your eyes, there is no hard feelings. If you want to have a chart up that does it the original way, which was the 1 minute and the 5 minute 2 charts, right? There's no hard feelings until you get the strategy. That's probably a really good idea, honestly, for anybody who's listening. But so for example, you just said you got in the faster one. That's where I would get in. If I didn't have the fancy arrow, this is where I would take it. We have a new 3 and a 9 cross. I would probably, depending on what my margin availability was, I'd even take it here when it broke that fractal. But teaching you how I trade, this is where I would take it. We'd have a pullback and we'll definitely get enough pips, if not more. We'll see what happens. I mean, nothing is guaranteed, but that's it. So so I don't know what percentage that is, and I don't want to try to do that math in public, but if you were able to compound to that extent, which I know that you were, then the best thing that we can do, DJ, is have you come live or a one-on-one, and let's break down every one of those trades that you entered. Let's go back that far. Let's reverse engineer, right? Because if we know it works, so for some people, they're hitting massive numbers. For some people, their psychology, their emotions, and the person down the street is getting in the way. But the numbers aren't wrong. The people are. So having said that, the more we complicate it, people are kind of losing their place. Start with what was working for you and go back to that. And then as you understand and your accuracy is good, then you can increase. And I don't mind doing that with you because you're an awesome, awesome guy. So we can do that. We can do that live on a call where we say, okay, these were the ones where you increase that by whatever bajillion percent that is. $5 to $65 is a huge percentage of a gain, especially in a day or two. And then let's take the entries you took after that.
Okay, yeah, because I mean, I know memory isn't exactly 100%, but if I recall correctly, all I was doing was literally entering right after my target profit was hit. But I don't know. I know right now that's not working, so that's why I was asking.
So we don't do that. We don't want to we can when it's trending, obviously. When it's trending, that works great. And that's where that whole it broke another fractal thing comes in. And I would love to discuss that. The problem is people are so lost in that it's not effective anymore. And then, of course, the management is weak, but I can't teach that in an effective way to people coming from all walks of life. So there is where kind of place in the strategy where that does come into play. But for now, if you're in the right side of the 50, you're taking every one of these 3-9 crosses down. You're taking every one of these crosses of the MACD 0. That's it. It's uber simple. It is not complex.
And another way you can look at it for money management is that once you're trailing, once you have started locking in profit and trailing, now you don't have any risk on the table, and you can take on more risks because you can add positions as long as you're trailing.
Hey, Jenny.
Hey, David.
Hey, I'm wondering, if you take a trade and the conditions change, I mean, it hasn't hit your stop loss, but like the 3 and 9 cross in the opposite direction, should you get out at that point?
Show me an example.
You'll
have to find one.
All right, like the trade we just entered on gold. Suppose the 3 and the 9 cross again in the opposite direction. Would it be wise to get out our hold on and trust the entry because it's in the right direction?
If the 3 and the 9 cross up, which it looks like it's doing right now,
right,
on the 1 minute chart, let's see, it's kind of bouncing below a current fractal. I would want it to break a high. I mean, for the most part, I'd want it to break a high.
Okay,
that's how I would count it. Like, because a new crossover isn't much. It can bounce around those crossovers for a minute, but breaking a high is. So, I mean, otherwise, I don't manually get out a lot. I don't manually get out. I try to do stress-free trading as the most, like my main thing is the main thing is the main thing. I try to do stress-free trading. And stress-free trading means less hands-on.
Okay, thanks. Appreciate it.
You are welcome.
Hi, Jenny. I think it's good you talked about trailing. When I use the runs on my trades, I've got the trailing stop off. Should I be having that on?
So you have it turned off right now?
Yes.
Well, that's not going to help you manage your trades if it's turned off.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I noticed that I'm being taken out of some trades quicker than I expected and things like that. So it's probably to do with the trailing stop. Okay.
Well, let's check your settings. Let's see if it's the same. And we're working on that to be the most effective possible. Fair enough?
Yes.
Okay. Any other pertinent questions this morning or today?
No, not from me.
Fair enough.
Hey, Jenny.
Hey, AJ, how are you?
I'm good. I have a question about the trade manager, right? The runs trade manager. So, do you just keep that on all the time, or do you enter into a trade then turn it on, or like when do you actually turn it on?
Well, depending on the accounts, depending on the account I'm working out of. Remember, I have several accounts, so
right.
There are a few accounts where I leave it off, or I just turn it on momentarily, depending on me, like walking away or going away for the weekend or whatever. So there are times when I turn them on and off, where I want that trade to be held open, and I'll just drag my stop loss into profit and then let it run without that worry of it kind of kicking in and kicking me out. But in terms of scalping, and in terms of one of my swing accounts, I always have it on. And that means, yes, I get knocked out a lot, but guess what? I also don't lose a lot.
Right. Okay.
You have to pick your battle. You have to decide what you value. And my way is not the only way that works. There are other people who don't trade so protectively and they're very successful. But the only way I know to teach you guys is to trade protectively.
Right.
Wonderful. Well, Jenny, this has been a wonderful day. Thank you and Scott, but I know we're at that 2-hour point. We don't want to burn you out off of our greed.
No, I appreciate you. Donna just messaged me. She goes, it's been 2 hours. So, hey guys, I am going to hop off. I'm looking forward to see how many trades you guys have taken in the last 2 weeks. Please post them in the scalping group. I'm really hoping to see if anybody who's actively willing to share, that's the key part, is got better than 85, 88%. If the last challenge we did was close to 70 something, I think I'd have to ask Donna to make sure, but it's definitely doable. So this is it. We'll do one more kind of round of how many scalps we can take, in which case I will trade live with you. But the whole ultimate part is to get some trades of your own. Gotcha. That's what we're trying to teach and work on here. So fair enough.
Thank you, and we love you. Thank you. We love you so much for your time and your energy.
Thank you.
Yeah, because it's immeasurable.
Thank you. Hey, have a happy Thursday, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care.
Happy Thursday.
Thanks, everybody.
All right.